This is Kathy McAfee, co-author of the book Fearless Female Leaders, Stories and Strategies to Empower More Women to Lead. It is my pleasure to read from you a story in this book featuring Eva Hausman and the Mother's Day movement in Chapter 7. And now sit back and enjoy this special reading. Eva Hausman, Fearless in the Face of Indifference. Sunday mornings were very special to Eva and her husband Erwin, especially since they became empty nesters. No more running around taking care of everyone else's needs. This was their time. As she flipped through the special August 2009 edition of the New York Times, Eva became immediately transfixed. The magazine was profiling a soon-to-be-released book called Half the Sky, written by investigative journalist Nicholas Kristof and his wife Cheryl Udon. Eva was an avid reader of Kristof's New York Times column, but that morning she learned something so shocking and riveting that it would prompt her into immediate fearless action. "Erwin, you've got to read this article," she exclaimed. "It's incredible what's happening. Millions of women around the world are suffering from extreme poverty and violence, and all that needs to be done to change this is educating girls." Looking up from his newspaper, Erwin said nothing. Eva's interruptions had become commonplace on Sunday mornings. The ever-patient and loving Erwin just simply replied, "Perhaps you should order the book." "Done," she replied. Eva found it difficult to settle back into her peaceful Sunday morning routine. The duality of feelings, the shock and the awe, mixed with curiosity and unknowingness, propelled her out of her house. Blowing off her scheduled exercise class, Eva grabbed her car keys and drove straight to the Simsbury Library, where she ran into the library director, Susan Bullock. Eva briefed her on what she had just read in the New York Times magazine, and then asked Susan if she would help her get the word out. Susan, a fearless leader in her own right, offered to make multiple sets of the copies of the article so that Eva could send them to her friends and inform them of what she had just learned. Upon receiving her copy of the book, Half the Sky, Eva immediately tore into the pages. She couldn't put it down. It was all-consuming, life-changing even. One particular story in that book haunted her. It was about a 13-year-old Ethiopian girl who was married off to an abusive man and became pregnant. Realizing that she and her baby would be in danger if she stayed in that situation, the girl ran away. She made it back to her village in time to give birth, but there was no money for a midwife. She suffered 7 agonizing days of obstructed labor with the baby stuck inside her birth canal. The baby died, and the poor girl suffered serious injuries, including a debilitating fistula. Her life would be plagued by ongoing incontinence, shame, and social stigma. Thinking she was cursed, the villagers refused to help her. They moved her to a hut at the end of the village and removed the front door so that the wild animals could get to her and put her out of her misery. By nightfall, the hyenas came for her. She fearlessly defended herself by waving a stick in her hand and shouting at them. She survived the night, but she knew she had to leave this perilous place or she'd die a horrible death. Once again, she had to run away to save her own life. Fortunately, she was rescued by the compassionate medical team at Addis Ababa Fistula Hospital in Ethiopia. The mental images of this young girl fighting off the hyenas dwell in Eva's head to this day. She says no mother deserves this kind of cruel indifference, no matter how poor or uneducated she is, no matter her circumstance, no matter what country she lives in or how the culture or government treats women in her country. We can and must do better, she proclaimed. Eva learned from the book Half the Sky that the cost to repair a fistula was somewhere in the range of $300. She had an idea. She decided to do a fundraiser for the Fistula Foundation. She would engage her circle of influence, the 43 people on her list to whom she had mailed the New York Times article. They would help her raise the money. These like-minded women and men became her success team. They began asking family and friends for $20 donations, and Eva even secured a $5,000 grant from a friend who worked at the Oak Foundation. At the end of the 2 weeks, they had raised $10,000 for the Fistula Foundation. It all happened so fast. Eva was over the moon with gratitude for the encouragement and the support of her family and friends. Eva was feeling proud of herself and her accomplishment when she received some unexpected feedback from her daughter Kim, who implored her, "Mom, our work here is not done. We must do more." Eva was momentarily speechless, a very rare occurrence, I might add, reflecting on her daughter's challenging words. She recalled the impulsives she felt on that Sunday morning when she jumped into fearless action. What was the driving motivator that caused her to take such bold action? Why was this so important to her? And was there enough there to keep her going in this direction? To answer these questions, she pulled out her copy of that Sunday article and read it again. Quote, "When I reread the New York Times article from 2009, Eva reflects, I was reminded of the thesis of the book Half the Sky. The authors of the book believed that we could in fact eradicate poverty and violence against women, just like we did in the 19th century when slavery was eradicated. By doing this, terrorism and other maladies would decrease. It made total and complete sense to me," said Eva. The academic and Eva went on to explain the two arguments in the book. The first part argues that oppression of women in most developing countries is a devastating and unrecognized injustice that's the equivalent of slavery, and that demands a moral and political movement as focused and principled as the campaign against slavery to bring its end back then. The second argument in the book addresses and discusses practical ways to create this movement and effect the change that is needed. I have never seen a more compelling call to action from a book in my life, says Eva, and that's coming from someone who spent her life and career as a teacher and an advocate. That was enough for Eva to recommit and step up her efforts to make a difference for mothers around the world. How is it that Eva could continue down this fearless path? How is it that one woman with a team of loosely made up of 43 friends could make such a big impact and do it so quickly and peacefully? To understand what drives someone like Eva Hausman, we must go back to her leadership origin story. Eva is the daughter and the sister of Holocaust survivors. Her mother escaped Nazi Germany with her young son Harry and fled to the United States. Hitler and his anti-Semitic white supremacist regime killed her grandparents and most of her extended family. Eva's mother and brother settled in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and there were jobs there during the wartime. Her mother met and married a new husband, and they gave birth to Eva, their daughter. There was 10 years difference between Eva and her older brother Harry, but in many ways, she felt like an only child. Eva was also the daughter of entrepreneurs. Her parents were quite industrious. Living and working in Birchfield, Connecticut, Eva's parents came up with a very clever business called Fashion on Wheels. They offered a mobile service of ready-to-wear women's clothing and accessories brought directly to the customer's home. Housewives and their husbands could buy outfits in the comfort of their house. It was a cash business, and they offered credit terms as well. It was truly a family affair. Eva's mom drove the truck, Eva schlepped the merchandise, and her dad managed the transactions and inventory. It was hard work and many hours, but the business grew. Eva has many memories of riding around the city after school, helping her parents take orders and serve customers. This entrepreneurial venture not only put food on the table and supported Eva's family's lifestyle, but it roused ideas in Eva's head and compassion in her heart. She was exposed to a diverse group of people, including immigrants from all over the world. She listened to their stories that the customers told her. She empathized with the problems they faced. And she began to see herself as an advocate, a champion for the underdog, working class families, many of whom were immigrants. She became an excellent listener and an avid reader, a girl with a curious mind and the courage to stand up for what's right. She began her fearless leader journey, a path that would empower her to have an amazing impact over her lifetime. Now, Eva chose a career in education, and she dedicated 30 years to being a high school social studies teacher. She married Erwin, an incredible partner and soulmate, and together they raised two fearless daughters, Kim and Lisa. Their family values included giving back, community service, and fighting for civil rights. Their volunteer leadership with the Anti-Defamation League earned them the prestigious honor of the Daniel R. Ginsburg Humanitarian Award. They were unafraid to speak up and speak out against hatred, racism, and bigotry of any kind. In word and deed, the Hausman family was a role model of integrity, compassion, and justice. And this is why Eva's daughter Kim had the gumption to stand up to her mother and challenge her. Together, the fearless mother and daughter took the next bold step. They figured out a way to make a direct connection with writer and journalist Nicholas Kristof. Their method was nothing short of fearless networking. It involved writing a letter, attending an event, and standing in line to meet the speaker, who just happened to be Cheryl Woodon, Nicholas's wife. Eva discreetly handed her the letter and asked her to give it to Christopher personally. This risky move could have gone nowhere, but it resulted in big, beautiful things. When Nicholas received Eva's letter, he moved fast. He gave Eva a shout out in his weekly New York Times column on May 8, 2010, entitled "Celebrate, Save a Mother." It was in this column that Kristof planted the powerful seed in Eva's head. It was a simple idea, a play on grammar, and it became the catalyst for Eva, her daughter Kim, and a small band of fearless friends. Eva recalls reading his column and feeling renewed energy and courage. She said, quote, "Mr. Kristof suggested it's time to move the apostrophe so that it becomes not just Mother's Day, honoring a single mother, but Mother's Day, an occasion to try and help mothers around the globe as well." Little did I know, says Eva, at the time that Mr. Kristof's column would motivate a group of women, including me, to act again. Inspired by Kristof's idea of relocating an apostrophe in the title of a public holiday, Eva, Kim, and two of her fearless friends launched Mother's Day movement. Each year, they select a single charity organization to be their beneficiary for that year's fundraising campaign. Since its official inception in 2011, Mother's Day movement has raised over $1 million for a variety of charities that do vital work in the area of education, maternal health, clean water, food security, and human trafficking. Eva considers Nicholas Kristof to be the father of Mother's Day movement, the charity beneficiaries to be its children, and herself and her small team of fearless leaders to be the mothers of the movement. Eva and Kristof continue to stay close friends and in close touch. Eva concludes, "Our work here is not finished. There's so many women and girls around the world, locally and globally, who need our understanding, compassion, our support, our action. Indeed, women do hold up half the sky." You can hear her pull for more participation, inviting you and me to join her success team in Mother's Day Movement. That concludes this chapter. I hope you'll join me, Eva, Kim, and many other people who will be supporting Mother's Day Movement in 2026. Funding their charity beneficiary this year is Trickle Up. Their mission is to partner with women in extreme poverty to build economic opportunity and drive inclusion. Trickle Up works with women and highly vulnerable populations to forge resilient pathways out of poverty through micro-enterprises and sustainable livelihoods. This year, I invite you to shift your gift and help to change a life this Mother's Day. Make your financial contribution at mothersdaymovement.org.